Hello everyone, Shay here with PeddlerAds.com, and I'd like to welcome you to another edition of Down Home Discussions. This time around, John sat down with the Executive Director of R.E.A.L Hope Youth Center, Carl Anderson, to speak about their program, why it's so important, and their future plans. So we hope you enjoy, and as always, we are brought to you by Commercial Bank and the Board of Public Utilities. Thank you.
Hey, my name is John, and I'm back with another episode of Down Home Discussions. Today, our guest is Mr. Carl from the R.E.A.L Hope Center. And he's going to be telling us a little bit about what goes on out there and what they want to see happening in their future. So, Mr. Carl, it is great to have you here with us.
Thank you very much.
Like we were talking earlier, I remember back in the early days when we were trying to get remind me which one it was again. I called it Big Brothers
Boys and Girls
Boys
Club.
and Girls Club here, and I remember trying to help get school supplies and all kinds of stuff for that, and that program sort of evolved instead into
R.E.A.L Hope Youth Center.
R.E.A.L Hope Youth Center. Okay, good. So since then, I can't remember how long ago that was, but tell me what you've done since those beginning days and what you're doing now.
Sure. That would have been about 11 years ago.
I was thinking it was about 10 years ago or more.
Yes. And of course, I'm relatively new with R.E.A.L Hope Youth Center. I've been the executive director for 2 years.
Okay.
I started with them July in 2019. But I am somewhat versed in the history, and it was the original intention, understanding a need here in Paris and Henry County to do something for the youth. The original intention was to start a Boys and Girls Club. And pursuing that process, it became evident that we just did not have the finances to make that happen. It was, in order to affiliate with the Boys and Girls Club, was just going to be so expensive. And at that time, there was no way we could do that. So it was settled on that we would try to do this locally, with the idea of building toward a full-fledged youth center at some point. And chose the name R.E.A.L Hope Youth Center. R.E.A.L is an acronym. Stands for Recreation, Education, Arts, and Leadership.
Oh, okay.
But
I've always seen where it was ... I wondered what that was.
Exactly. It all has meaning. But I would like to really back up just a little bit, if I can, John. Our community, Paris and Henry County, recognized 50 years ago that our youth were being underserved, that our youth needed a youth center, some type of place that they could call theirs. And 50 years ago, Paris and Henry County started a youth center. And I was surprised back in August of 2020. I picked up a Paris PI, and I looked into this section where they have 25 years ago,
Right.
50 years ago. I looked into that section of 50 years ago, and it said 4 youth were elected to the Paris Henry County Youth Center. And that was the first I'd ever heard that we ever had a youth center in Paris and Henry County. And so I went over to the archives facility over at Grove to try to do some research and find out more about what this was. I couldn't find out any information. About a month later, I found in the PI another 50 years ago section where it said that the Mitchum Company, that used to be located in downtown Paris here, they relocated out to the highway, Highway 54. But they had that big building that they had downtown here. They donated that to the Paris Henry County Youth Center. Today it's a parking lot. So it never really got off the ground. It never did go into full service for the hopes were, and kind of fizzled out. And even Real Hope Youth Center started 11 years ago with the idea that we would work into this full role of being a full service youth center. So we started out as an after school care program.
Is that what you're doing
That's what
now?
we're currently doing,
Okay.
after school enrichment program for students, for kids in first grade through sixth grade. And we've been doing that for 10 years. And John, we've been doing an awesome job. If I must pat myself on the back, we've done a great job. We provided a great service.
And
But
where do you meet? Where is this
we
program?
we are currently located over at the old Central High School
Okay.
on Jones Bend Extended here in Paris, and we're very thankful for the opportunity to be able to provide our service in that building, which the county runs now.
Right.
And it has been great, but we understand that our mission is so much broader than what we currently providing. And so we relatively recently decided, our board, that it's time. It's really past time, but it's time for us to pursue this greater vision of building this youth center.
10 years flies by fast, doesn't it?
It flies by fast. It has come and gone, and we've realized that what we are doing, we're doing well, but it's not enough to effectively address the needs of our youth. John, I want to say this during this podcast. People don't realize this. Here in the United States of America, suicide is the #2 cause of death for youth ages 8 to 19.
Really?
Suicide is a #2 cause of death. That is a self-inflicted event. The #1 cause of death is accidents,
Right.
and that's a broad catch-all category. The accident could have been in a car accident, could have been by drowning, could have been by falling off of a cliff. If you were to break those down into particular events, the #1 cause of death here in the United States of America would be suicide. That's tragic. People don't realize it. Growing up has always been a challenge for youth. You've got all those hormones, those emotions that we have not figured out how to control and how to deal with. You've got all the peer pressure in school and wanting people to like you. All this culminates into this tragic statistic that suicide is the #2 cause of death for youth 8 to 19. That is sad. That is tragic. That is something that we don't want to talk about. We don't want to consider it. We don't want to understand.
What is Real Hope and the center wanting to provide or help with?
What we want to do, John, is you cannot make people make right decisions. You cannot make people go in a direction that they don't want to go. But here's the thing about it. We have a responsibility, we feel, as a society, as citizens of Paris and Henry County, we feel like that there's a responsibility to set the table and to provide the tools for our children, for our youth, to have a greater ability to make the proper decisions and to help them along. And I've heard this since we've started this process. Well, now's not a good time. We've got the pandemic. People are economically depressed. Now it's not a good time. Well, I asked the question, when is a good time? 10 years, we didn't find a good time. Going back 50 years, we couldn't find a good time. There's never going to be the perfect time.
Right. Right. Isn't there a saying, if you wait for the right time to something happen, it's never going to happen?
It's never going to happen. I tell you what the time is. The time is for somebody to take a stand, to plant their feet in the ground and say, this is what we're doing. And that's what Real Hope is doing. There's nothing outside of what we're currently doing, there's nothing special about the tag of Real Hope. It's only this, that we are doing what nobody else has declared themselves eligible or willing to do.
Right.
We're planting our feet in the sand and we're saying, we're going to raise the level of awareness in this community about this great need for our youth. We will put that snowball at the top of the hill and give it an opportunity to gain volume and grow and help people of Paris and Henry County to see that if we don't make proper investments in our youth today, society will pay for it in the future.
What are your immediate goals that you're working on?
Our immediate goals, it's a 5-year plan. We've established a 5-year plan, and what we want to do is raise the money to build a YMCA type youth center. We don't want to throw a building on a property somewhere that's not sufficient for what we need. We need a place that our youth can come to, that they feel like this is our place to get away from the world. They can be with other youth and have some semblance of supervision. Right now, our youth are hanging out in parking lots and parks with absolutely no supervision. And our recent local news shows you what happens when youth get together with absolutely no supervision. We want to give them a place where they can come, where they've got game rooms, where they'll have a gymnasium, where we will have life skill classes available for them. We'll have events and things that will be geared toward them, and they can say, this is our place. In 2019, the city of Paris had held a Positively Paris event at the KPAC Center. And our youth came out that night. There was quite a few of them there, and they had breakout groups, and one of them was the youth group, and I attended that. I wanted to hear what it was that our youth wanted to see in Paris. And they wanted to see a lot of things. They wanted to see more job opportunities. They wanted to see shopping. They wanted to see this. They all made a list, but on every single list, it said, we need a place where we can go that is our place. Okay. That's what Real Hope Youth Center wants to provide for the youth of Paris and Henry County.
Well, that's great. I'm sure that's probably going to take a lot of time, volunteer efforts, and money. How would someone get in touch with you or with Real Hope about volunteering or donating money? Is there a number? Is there an address now they can go to? Do you have an office?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Thanks for asking, John. Yes, I want to say this. We've already, someone has donated property, 5.5 acres at the corner of India Road and Peppers Drive, and we've got signs out there. And people, we haven't officially started our building campaign yet, but people are already responding. I know that the people of Paris and Henry County will get this thing built, and at the end of the day, we'll be able to say that this is the youth center that the people of Paris and Henry County built. They're already starting to respond. People have already given over $65,000. We've got a long way to go, but they're already responding because they're seeing that somebody's stepping up and putting their foot in the ground and say, let's get this done. If you want to volunteer, if you want to donate, we've got a website, www.realhopeyouth.com. Our
Okay, let's say that again. So we gotta-
www.realhopeyouth.com.
Okay.
That'll give you information about us, tell you all about us. There's also a donate button on there.
Okay, great.
And also contact information. You can send us emails. Our phone number is 731-333-1320. We need people to stand up and be responsible to invest in the future of our youth, and we will get this done.
Oh, I believe it. I believe it. And the Peddler Advantage and PeddlerAds.com, we're here to help you. That's why we wanted to contact you, get the word out about it,
Certainly
and
appreciate it.
see how quickly we can get this building up and get our youth in a safe, supervised place to participate and learn in. So,
Thank you so much, John.
all
I
right.
appreciate the
I
opportunity.
appreciate
to
you
come on.
coming out and talking with us today, and I just wish you the best of luck, and we're here to help you any way we can.
Thank you so much.
All right.